join in as we go along, but that's okay. I'll make a few introductory remarks for those of us who are here and those who are joining for the first time. We are the Bangalore KM community. We have been meeting for the last 20 years or so, offline, hybrid, virtual, and so on. And I'm very pleased that now, thanks to technology, we can also expand our focus and become global in nature, thanks to Zoom and such other video conferencing technologies. So we have with us a very good lineup of speakers today. The theme overall is enterprise AI, and the theme is how are large companies, small companies, medium companies using AI to enhance their knowledge management initiatives. We have a framework over here today, which we call the knowledge conversation, based on a bunch of my earlier work in knowledge management and digital media. I've done 3 books on KM, and I look forward to doing many more with some of you as contributors, as authors, and so on. The format of our event today is what we call a knowledge conversation. We'll, of course, begin with an opening keynote address from Vas, and then we have what's called the innovation conversation. We'll have pitches by startups talking about what's new. Since we're based in Bangalore, we have many excellent startups who are coming up with new kinds of AI tools and so on and so forth to help traditional companies use AI in different ways. Then we take a look at how are large companies, large organizations using AI to enhance their knowledge management. And then we have some discussion at the end on how do we scale all this? How do we pick what's workable? How do we make sure everything is ethical and so on, in line with expectations from society and companies? So we have a packed agenda today. I'm very delighted that our first speaker is joining us is Vincent Ribiere, who is the Managing Director of IKI Southeast Asia from Bangkok University. He's also the Global Award Coordinator for the Most Innovative Knowledge Enterprise. I hope all of you are aware of these awards. If not, Vansa will bring us up to steam on what's happening. We will then switch to startups. We will have presentations by at least 3 startups. I think the 4th one is based in Canada and may not be able to join us, but we will have at least 3 presentations from very interesting startups who will share with us case studies of how companies are using their AI tools, their AI platforms, and what kinds of impacts they can get. And by the way, all these startup pitch decks will be published online, so you can see and access some of these startups also, if you wish. After that, we have 2 other very interesting speakers. We will have Rudolf DSouza, who came back very recently from the Knowledge Summit Dublin, one of the top KM conferences in the world, and he shared with us some of his takeaways from this conference. After that, we will have a overview of what's been happening in the Knowledge Management Global Network. We have Prakash, who is one of the very active participants from India in KMGN. He's a KM consultant, ex-CKO of Trianz and Wipro and CGI. Very distinguished speaker and expert in this area. He'll share with us some of the updates from KMGN, including the KM Global Week, which is coming up towards the end of this year. And after that, we will have an excellent panel discussion with 4 panelists. One of them is the CEO of a company called Simnovus. They are a 5G Open RAN, Open Radio Access Network company. And they talk about the future of mobile networks, what's going to happen in the future with the wireless networks, and how they, as an organization, are using AI to transform the network of the future. Very interesting session. Then we have from the Tata Management Training Center, Sanjay Nayak, who's the manager of KM at the TMTC, will share with us how they are using KM for TMTC and for the Tata Group. Then we switch gears to look at the non-profit sector, the overall civil society, and take a look at what does AI mean for the disenfranchised? How do you include everybody in the AI footprint? And they have a very interesting organization called the Digital Empowerment Foundation. Arpita Kanjilal heads research at this organization. And to wrap up this whole lineup of panelists, we have Biju Nair, who's the founding partner of a company called Legalitech. It's a tech company looking at legal issues on what are the frontiers of IP protection, data ownership, and so on in the area of AI. We'll also have some of the speakers talking about some other very interesting events about AI and KM coming up. For example, in Hyderabad, in India, we have the Digital Citizen Summit, which has a component called Just AI, AI for Justice. So that's a big part of the future global economy for AI. We also have the World AI Summit in Bangalore in South India, September 25th to 26th. And of course, the KMGN's KM Global Week to 24. So these are some of the give a big round of applause to Vincent Ribiere, one of the pioneers of knowledge management awards, etc. And he will share with us some of his views on what's happening with KM awards and so on. So with this, let me unshare and I'll hand it over back to Vincent with this. Let me get out of this. Yeah, okay. Over to you, Vincent.
Thank you very much, Madan, and great pleasure to be here and to see so many familiar faces. And thank you for the invitation. And wow, quite an amazing group of speakers for today. So unfortunately, I will not be able to stay until the end, but I will for sure look back into the recording. Very, very amazing group of people you're bringing together. How much time do I have, Madan, just to
You got
try
about
to see?
15 to 20 minutes.
15?
You can speak for about 15
Okay.
and Q&A at the end for
Okay.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, great, wonderful. Okay, so let me get started. Here we go. Wonderful. So yes, so Madan invited me to share with you a bit about the Mike Award. I don't know. I mean, some of you I know are already familiar with it. So I will just briefly give you a bit of background and maybe share a bit of some of the findings we've gained from last year winners in very fast mode, but I think they are interesting things. So as Madan mentioned, so I'm managing the Institute for Knowledge and Innovation Southeast Asia at Bangkok University. And so we are a center of excellence in KM and innovation. And as part of the activity we have been organizing the Mike Award for the past 3 years after the team from Hong Kong Polytech University, Professor W. Billy and Eric Xu also used to be the facilitator. So the Mike Award is an extension of the Make Award that was started in 1998. So in 2017, when Rory Chase, who was the creator of the Make Award, decided to retire, the team from Hong Kong Polytech University decided to take over this award, but also to inject a new dimension to it, which is the innovation dimension, because as we all know, innovation is directly impacted by knowledge which is available, and by better managing the flow of knowledge in an organization, it's demonstrated to help to support and facilitate innovation in organization. So that's why the MEC was renamed Mike, so where Admire was replaced by Innovative Knowledge Enterprise, and also some of the assessment where criteria were updated. So there has been different version of the MEC. So the MEC was used also to evaluate knowledge cities and so on. So I would share with you, Madan, and you can share with the community. We wrote 3 book chapters that retrace a bit the history of the MEC, of the MIC, and also what the MIC Award is now offering. So the MIC Award operates at 2 levels. First, there is a competition at the national level. So we have some representative at the national and regional level. So we have one, for instance, in Bangkok, we cover Southeast Asia, but you have also the MENA region, Middle East, North Africa. You have a representative in Hong Kong, in China, in Iran, in Israel. Next year, we will have one also in South Africa. So we are trying to expand to have a representative internationally, but even if there is no representative, and we are desperately also looking for a representative in India. So if there is any organization listening here who might be interested to take over, to represent the Mike Award in India, there is no license fees, there is no fee attached to it. So you might consider it and contact me for that. So anyway, so applicants send their report at the national or regional level, and the top winner at each level compete at the global level, the global Mike Award level. So that's the cream of the cream, as we say, so the best of the best who compete at this high level. So the Mike Award also has an international committee which is overseeing this award. And then, like I said, we have the administration unit that I'm running and the different local representatives. Now, the international committee, so it's composed of different members. We try to have also other representatives from different KM community. So the KMGN, IAKM, groups of KM practitioners also operating. So we are representing a wide variety of KM way of thinking and group and community. So the way the Mike Award, the criteria are based on, in fact, there are 8 different criteria that somehow represent the intellectual capital of an organization. And so we believe that the intellectual capital of an organization somehow forms the DNA that is required for organization to be innovative. So if an organization is quite mature on these 8 different elements of the DNA, then it's more likely to be innovative in a systematic way. So we all know about intellectual capital. So it's composed of human capital, relational capital, and structural capital. And so the 8 criteria covers these different dimensions. So human capital, more or less, is assessed through 2 dimensions. What the organization is doing to empower knowledge worker for innovation. What has the organization defined a clear knowledge management and innovation strategy? And does it has some transformative leadership to support these KM and innovation activities? On the relational capital dimension, what is the organization doing to assess and satisfy its stakeholders and customers' need and expectation? What is the organization doing to develop internal and external network and connectivity, so knowledge flows inbound and outbound of the organization? In terms of structural capital, there are 4 dimensions. There is a process capital. So what are the knowledge practices and system in place to really make knowledge flow in this organization? And also, does the organization has in place some creative and virtual spaces, what Nonaka used to call as a BA environment, so where knowledge can be transferred, exchanged, and co-created. And also, as part of structural capital, there is the innovation capital, which is what the organization is doing to cultivate a culture to support innovation, and also on which aspect of innovation, if you want, the organization is focusing on more on product, on services, on a new business model, and so on. So we have an international committee, and some of them are here in the room today, who is assessing this the company applications, and then who were able to score each organization based on these 8 different criteria and be able to identify if the organization meet the global Mike Award standard. So last year we had 21 winners at the global level. 3 of them were recognized as outstanding winners. So 1 from China, 1 from UAE, and 1 from Hong Kong. So China Railway Engineering Equipment Group, the Municipality and Planning Department of Ashman in UAE, and the Water Supply Department of Hong Kong SAR. Again, you can see public and private sector here. And then the 18 other Global Mike Award winners. AFCON, who has been a winner for many, many years from India. And Tata, there is a Tata Chemicals also from India. I think we just had 2 participants from India last year, if I recall properly. So, so these are companies that got the award. So we have an annual award ceremony where we invite the winner to share their practices and best practices and to learn from each other's. So just to give you a bit of background over the past year, so this is where the different winners came from, different regions. Unfortunately, mainly from the east part of the world, Asia, and but we wish there will be more applicants. We had in the past applicants from the US and Europe and so on, but We didn't have any last year. Most of these organizations operate at the international level, some of them just at the national level, or at the national level, and 38% also operate at the local level. 43% were government. We get a lot of government applicants from, particularly from Hong Kong. They have been very active, and then private organization, NGO. So really, even universities. Binus University in Indonesia has been a winner also for many years. So you can see that KM applied to really lots of different fields. Again, construction and housing, manufacturing, agriculture, fishing, mining, energy, forestry. So were represented among the past winners. The average age of these companies was 57 years old. So with the youngest 15 years old and oldest 130 years, 38 years old. So you can see also a very wide span of companies, and 33% were listed on the stock market. We asked them also what is the name of the company in charge of the knowledge management in their organization. So we can see that we have a lot of different names. And again, some of them reporting directly to HR, some of them who don't have a knowledge management unit, which have a decentralized way of looking at KM. So we can see that KM fit into a lot of different, or is supported by a lot of different ways with units of different names in different organizations. If we try to cluster them a bit, so we have some of them that are supported by more people-focused type of unit, which I believe is great, because again, knowledge only resides in the head of people. So by managing people indirectly, you manage their knowledge. Some of them that were managed directly by the innovation unit, where there was a combination, which is great too, because we believe knowledge and innovation should work hand in hand and not separated. And some of them that were more about process improvement or quality, which is also a great way to look at KM. The reporting line, so to whom this KM unit report to? 29% directly to strategic teams, 24% to human capital, and and to other form of things. Same thing for the innovation. We ask them to who they report to. How much time do I have left, Madan, just to know if I need to wrap up now?
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay.
No problem.
Okay. Great. So we ask them also who is in charge of the innovation in their organization. Again, we have some formats that are more decentralized, and some of them have a different ways to label them or to organize them. So who's in charge of innovation? So some of them is a KM unit, some of them is more technology unit, business unit, and some of them are more in R&D, have a research unit overseeing the innovation structure. Now, in terms of number of people who are leading this KM unit, for 33%, they have 4 to 7 full-time employees, so usually small units. That's what we have seen over time. And very often they are supported also by external parties like consultants, but also they remain quite small unit. When we ask them, so are you planning to be ISO certified? So for the KM standard, so 52% said they were thinking about it. And 24% said, well, we are yes, and 24% no. And we asked them some question about the ISO, so the innovation management ISO standard. And it looks like some of them also are thinking about it, but it doesn't seem to be yet a priority. Even so, I mean, we think we all strongly believe that, this ISO is a good way to demonstrate internationally, that you're systematically managing your KM and innovation management effort. We asked them also, how much do you expect your organization to invest in KM over the near future? So we can see 48% to increase a lot and 43% to increase a little bit. So total is quite good. So we can see some increase. We asked them the same question about their innovation. And again, very high percentage. So knowledge management is not dead and innovation management is not dead either. And what are your biggest opportunities for KM to capitalize right now? Again, still struggling to get more leaders to recognize and support knowledge as a strategic asset, integrating AI, as you said, into their KM efforts. Again, to link KM directly to innovation and also to develop some partnership internally and externally. And which business priority is most important for KM to enable or support right now? 19% operational efficiency and process improvement, so the core of each business. 16% continuous learning, 11% innovation, and 10% digital transformation. Okay, so I think this makes sense. Again, if KM can show its value at the core of a business, that's great. But indirectly, we also wanted to contribute to continuous learning, innovation, and of course, all this digital transformation program nowadays will benefit from better knowledge sharing and knowledge transfer to succeed. Okay, let me, well, I still have one slide. What are the biggest threats for KM right now? Again, being able to measure the impact of KM. And again, this is a long story challenge. If KM initiative from the beginning don't clearly define or don't clearly align their KM strategy to the business strategies, and it becomes quite difficult to measure it and show its value. 21% employees are overworked and don't think they have time for KM. Once again, if KM is not embedded in the way that people work, then it becomes challenging for them to find time to do extra work, to capitalize what they know or share what they know. 19% KM may get lost in broader digital transformation or intelligent enterprise strategies. In my point of view, that's not a big deal. As long as it's happening and it's supporting and is helping, we don't need to call it KM. Whatever is there, it's of value. And 15% leaders are focused on what they see as more urgent problems or opportunities. So again, this is linked directly with the previous case of, yeah, they're still not all leaders are still yet convinced about the value of systematically managing knowledge, which is somehow a bit sad after 30 years of strongly preaching the value of KM. Okay, let me stop here, and I will leave it up to any question if you have.
Sure, fantastic. A big round of applause. Thanks, Mansoor, for that brilliant overview of years and years of research on what's happening with KM and innovation. We have lots of questions, I'm sure. Does anyone want to jump in with a question? I've got a couple otherwise. Ved, Rudy, anybody else want to ask him a question? I've got two otherwise.
I'll leave it open to others to ask because we keep chatting otherwise.
So what's the obvious question I have for you is, how is AI impacting all of this? You had one slide where you talked about digital transformation, and that's a big part of KM these days, has been for some time now. Are you seeing AI shaking up the whole thing? Are people getting nervous about what it can do and so on?
Yeah, so in fact, I had a slide. Let me see. So we start to see AI to be embedded into these KM practices, mainly around these 6 different dimensions. So developing AI chatbots to support, again, direct answers or answering questions that people might have related to whatever activities they are doing. For scenario simulation also, and using also technology like digital world or virtual reality, augmented reality. For decision support, for knowledge retrieval, which has been, I think, always a big challenge for for KM and having knowledge spread over different systems, over different resources. I believe AI, and particularly generative AI, has some value to bring here to better answer such kind of things. So yes, it's coming up. We can start to see, last year we could start to see it emerging into how companies are reporting. I'm pretty confident that this year we will see even more AI initiative embedded as part of their KM and innovation efforts. Yes.
Great. Manfred, I can see your hand up. You got a question? Go ahead.
Thank you. Vincent, you mentioned that about 25% of your participants consider to move on a little bit into the standards development. I think that's a great opportunity. And maybe you think about just forming a kind of peer group that learns and moves together into that direction. I think that would be really a great use case for the rest of our great community globally. And maybe you can show some, pressure points, but as well some of the good solutions these companies come up with to move on in their certification process. Might not be the necessity that all of them will complete, but I think that could be a great group to peer learning. Thank you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you for the offer. If you remember, Manfred, as part of the KMGN, we had created an ISO 30401 working group, and we had developed quite a lot of resources for organizations to self-assess themselves on how mature they are in terms of going toward accreditation. All this material is still fully available online. There are great things. We had created also short videos to explain a bit the ISO standard. But as you said, developing a community of people who have gone through this certification or who are going through it or struggling to go through it, could be a very valuable sub-community. Yeah, thank you for the idea.
Good. So lots of areas of collaboration in front. Yes. I know you have a very hard stop coming up in a few minutes.
Sure.
Thanks so much for joining us. We do hope that you have more time to join our events in the future. We'll share with you all the other presentations coming up. And if you can share some of your slides with us, that'll be great for the other participants to share as well. So yeah, a big round of applause once again for Varshav. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your summer. Stay cool. I know it's very hot in Europe. Try and stay cool. Yeah. Okay, good. We're going to switch gears now to the startup portion. We're going to talk about what are some of the young new innovators doing in India and other parts of the world to create new kinds of AI capabilities and so on and so forth. So for this part, let me hand over to my colleague Vinay Dora to talk a little bit about the startup activities that are happening in India. What are some different kinds of initiatives and programs that are coming up? Vinay, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Madan. I thought we'll first introduce with what MXR and Crowd Product does. We essentially work with multiple startups all over the world with our ecosystem enablers. Just take you through some of the slides. We work directly with startups. We work with enablers. We work with corporates who have innovation programs. We work with VCs and a lot of people. So here are some of the people that we work with over the years. We also bring in some sort of tools that enable startups. So based on startups' feedback and input, one of the tools was based on their pitch decks, right? So MXR World has a lot of pitch decks, and based on the pitch decks, who are the kind of people they should be meeting? How should they make most of their time in conferences and engagements, all of that? So we have some 3-4 tools. One is called PitchX, Crowd Product, and a few other tools. This is what MXR does. We do different sort of formats, focus groups, cross-border engagements, masterclasses, all of that. Here are some of the feedbacks, and we list a lot of these startup pitch decks for people to showcase themselves, to interact with them, and also to get candid feedback and connects for helping their businesses go forward. What we have recently started is also cross-border engagement activities for funders, founders, and enablers. This was something we recently did in Bali, Indonesia, with the government of Indonesia. We're also working with other governments. So we have an MOU with government of Dubai called Ignite. We are taking people a delegation visit to Singapore. So around the Global Innovation Week, Technology Week in Dubai, we're taking funders, founders to Dubai. And from there, GCCs and Africa and Europe, opportunities for them. We're also working with the Singapore ecosystem. So around end of October and early November, you have the Singapore Week of Innovation. We're also trying to see how to club it with other parts of Southeast Asia, because along with Singapore FinTech Festival, we have the Hong Kong FinTech Festival, and also we are looking at Bangkok, Thailand. In fact, we're meeting the Thai Chamber of Commerce people tomorrow, and we're trying to see how we could club it with other regions. So this is what MXR is. We are delighted to talk to you about one of our top-notch ecosystem partners. Axel is a top VC. They've started an AI cohort. Last year, it was only for Indian founders. Now they've expanded it to Indian origin founders across the world. And hopefully by next year, we would have founders from across multiple locations in the world as well. So I wanted to briefly talk about this AI cohort program that they have. I'm going to play a short video to sort of take you through this. So let me just share the screen. And here you go. So if any of you want to connect to some of these founders, we have a lot of these Axel, Atoms, AI founders and other founders in their early stages and would like meetings connects. We at MXR would be happy to connect you with some of these founders. And we're going to have a few of them also presenting in our in the current session and subsequent sessions as well. I would share the links in the chat over here and happy to take it forward from there. Thank you.
Thanks, Vinay. That's a new term I learned just now, leap tech. I've heard of deep tech, of course, but it's good to hear that leapfrog, leap tech, all that is coming together. So good. You've set the stage very well for our founders to start their pitches. Let's begin with Ajit. Ajit is the co-founder of Tiny Prism Labs. Ajit, are you here with us now?
Yes, Madan, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead. You can share the screen and start. You got 5 minutes for your pitch.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, we can see the slides.
Yes. So as Madan said, Ajit here from Tiny Prism Labs Private Limited. So we are situated in Mangalore. So about our TPL, so we do have two major wings. One working on product line as edge AI devices, where we run AI/ML workloads on the edge device, on the IoT device itself, where we'll be talking about more in this presentation. And we do provide services in the AI/ML, edge computing, and embedded system domain. So coming to the problem statement, so today in industry manufacturing process, right? So there are all the industries are trying to make smart and be compiled with industry 4.0 and industry 5.0, but there are two major problems that we have jotted down. Is one is the unplanned downtime in industry manufacturing process. This is not a new problem, but it's been pretty old, but still, when we did a survey, there are a lot of like about 40% of loss are happening due to unplanned downtime. And today there are some of the IoT solutions which actually solves this problem, but again adds overhead because of the cloud solutions that are added to these solutions, which will add additional latency, or it can be an operational cost because today cloud costs are huge. So we wanted to flip this model and imagine you will have a battery cell or a battery or a small device which will be capable of handling these things and running AI algorithms on the device, right? So that's where we have come up with this solution called the Edge AI solution, which is a battery powered hardware which enabling the on device intelligence. So we'll be having a sensing component that will be attached to the devices, and it will be capable of collecting the data in real time. So once the data is collected, we will be building the algorithm, especially AI algorithm for predicting to the respective use cases. And finally, the ML model or the AI model will be fine-tuned and optimized to run it on the device. So we'll be deploying it on the device. There is nothing as of cloud intervention here. So what basically happens is in the real time, the data as it comes, our AI model that is running on the device will be capable of giving the predictions in order to make the real time decisions. So there is no latency, there is no other overheads that are added. So the market size that basically for an IoT is growing at 8% CAGR, and we are targeting at the serviceable obtainable market, which is about $1.94 billion, and this is where we are working towards. So coming to the specific use cases, on the left side, you can see there is a CNC milling operation that is happening, and our sensing or our device is attached to the spindle where it is analyzing the pattern of the milling operation. And you can see on the mobile phone, the real-time data is being captured as the milling operation is happening. And if there is any abnormality or abnormal that happens in the process, right? So an alert will be sent to a respective department. So they will take the real-time actions in order to overcome the unplanned downtime. So this is one of our case study that we have done, and we have working with other industries to analyze the vibrations in industry motors as such. And one more basically now in the vision based on the right side down, right? So there is a camera module which is capable of taking the data in real time, which is of industry manufacturing bolts. And our edge device is running an AI model which will be capable of detecting the bolts in real time and also the counts of the bolts. So this is again running on the edge without any cloud dependency at around 40 FPS is what we have achieved with this technology. Now, about the traction, as I was explaining about the predictive maintenance in CNC milling operation, right? So this has been recently featured in one of the Hackster community YouTube, which is a global event that happens as a impact spotlight, and our work was being featured there. And this is something that we are seeing there is a traction for the technology that we are working on. So coming to our team, these are the main pillars of our team, where we have a mix of AI developer and also the embedded developers, which come in hand to run the AI algorithms on the hardware or the IoT devices as such. So the business plan, so we are mainly focusing into the CNC milling, machinery milling. And as I was saying that we are working with one of the client to work on motor vibration analysis and do a anomaly detection in real time for them and sending the alert. And we are more focusing on three major sensors, which is like the accelerometer, which actually calculates the vibrations, microphone, which deals with audio signals, and the camera, which deals with the images and videos. So using this, we are building the like what to say the use cases around the vision based for quality inspection and parts traceability also. And it's not only constrained to the the industries, it's also a domain agnostic where technology comes in. But most probably the one that we are working now is in the industry manufacturing, as I was saying about the serviceable obtainable market, which is around like $1.94 billion, right? So we are working in deploying directly to a B2B type of business. So the ask from this session is like, as this technology is a very niche, and we wanted to make it a global impact, especially where the use case providers and industry partners and OEMs are readily working on different technology, but they wanted to integrate and make their industries smart, right? So that is where we are looking into. And also we wanted to partner to different use case owners where they want to deploy our edge AI solutions, for especially for if they want to make it for predictive maintenance or quality inspection or any other as such of process optimization also. And if there is any cloud solutions which you don't want to really rely on, so we have built our product around which is capable of taking the image sensors, or it can be of different sensor we want to integrate and build the edge AI technology. That's where we are building into. And this is all about our startup company that we are working on, and this is about us. And yeah, the clients that we are serving is the Karmic Design, Sofracine, and other, which is actually mixed of industry and also a medical companies, which we are tied up and working with them in this technology. So that's about my presentation.
Thanks, Ajit. Good work over there. I have a quick question for you. You mentioned medical towards the end. Are there any other sectors that need this kind of AI-based edge solutions for hardware?
Yeah, definitely. So it can be for logistics, where you want to maybe track the items or products as such in the warehouse facility as such. And one more is on the mobility. So nowadays everybody is moving to EV, and a lot of innovation is happening there, which they call as software. uh, I think software defined is what they were saying right now. It is growing towards edge on, so they wanted to get the real time prediction on the real time.
Great, thanks. Any other questions? We're going to move on to the next startup. Otherwise, in which case, Ajit, thank you so much. A very good session. I'll come back to you later on with some more ideas and feedback afterwards. But now let's turn to Anil. Anil, are you with us? Anil from Sign AI. You're next. I think you're on mute, Anil. We can't hear you.
Sorry. Good afternoon. Myself, Anil Kumar. I'm gonna quickly show the product itself rather than the pitch deck, because I believe in solving the problem than going through the pitch deck. So here's our website. As a business owner, all of us know we are frustrated because our employees doesn't take the ownership. Okay, that's not true. Our employees doesn't take the ownership is because the lack of system around them. And in some cases, even though there are systems around them, they are not meant to be tracked. They are not meant to be solving the problem for the employees or the owner. It's just a kind of add-on for them to support. So this is where we came into solve this problem with agentic AIs. So what we do is we are a workflow management tool or a workflow automation tool using agents, forms, and a human in the loop. So across the globe, you hear a lot of noise about, hey, I have a voice agent, I have a customer care agent, but these agents don't work by themselves. They need this complete workflow to be there in place before they get in. So that's where we come in, and we just don't engage with other agents, but we create all the agents by ourselves just with one single prompt. Let's take an example. So let's say there's a patient coming into a hospital and doing a registration. As soon as he registered, he need to get an email with a confirmation his registration has been confirmed. So like that, we have a lot of use cases. Some of the use cases will pop up based on the profile registration. So I'm going to pick up one use case which I just spoke about, which is like a outpatient coming into a hospital or a clinic and registering. So create a workflow with form for handling the outpatient registration, collect patient name, age, sex, email, and reason for sickness. After collecting this information, analyze using AI and send an email to the hospital operations staff. So this is a very basic one with few roles will be created. Let's say I'm going to generate that. So meanwhile, let it get generated. It will take like 20 to 30 seconds to generate the entire workflow. So once it is generated, the respective approvers or the respective departments will be automatically added because you already have this entire setup here where you can add your organization rules, employees, everything, or you can even just connect to your existing systems. I'll show you that quickly. So once you have all those things ready, it's as easy as an app. You can create an app just with one click with our system and track the entire workflow on your mobile itself. So I'm going to click and approve the workflow. So it has created the form to collect the patient name, sex, reasons of sickness, everything. I'm going to close this. And it also created a beautiful workflow. So this is a workflow decided by the AI. So if you don't like this workflow, you can modify it. Just go ahead and improve. Okay. Add a approval node at the end of send email. Let's say that I'm just giving a vague a prompt. So it's going to add another node at the end of this particular send email. Like that, we can create this entire workflow. And so, yeah, we see it created a new approval. So this is as easy as with a simple natural language, you can create the entire workflow. So if you want to know how this was before, there was a big companies used to create this entire workflows for other organization. That was a huge IT business. So now it has been replaced with agentic AIs. This is an agent our system has already created, in fact, and it also sends an email. It also goes for the approval. We can do 100 things. So we have 800 set of nodes. We call it as nodes for all this. 800 set of nodes identified and already deployed in the operation. I'm going to show you quickly how this works. Okay, I'm going to save this workflow. So once the workflow is saved, right, I can quickly launch a test workflow. Okay, this is a URL which usually you deploy it on your system or on your apps. Let's say I'm going to say I'm a patient registering now, and I'm going to just give some random data here. I'm going to give my real email so that I can get an email. And a headache and like pain.
Anil, you got 2 minutes left.
Yeah, sure. Pain. So as soon as you submit the form, so this entire thing will go to the AI. AI will analyze the patient. Yes, he is admissible, or he is going to be routed to a different hospital or a different department. So once it is analyzed, it will send a confirmation email to the patient saying, hey, so and so has been registered. So it's as simple as that. That's one of the very basic workflow that I explained. Like that, we have complex workflow as of today. In every single, you name any organization, a dental clinic or a IT industry or IT office, a research organization. Every single organization has a workflow which can be automated. So this is a time to replace all the SaaS projects with the workflow products. And this particular product has been already onboarded with 2 different clients. One is Excelsoft Technologies to automate their entire HR management and operations with 1,500 employees as of today. And also a Cycle Agarbattis, you might be knowing about it. Who does puja at home. So these 2 clients are already onboarded before even we launch the product. So they have given the use case to automate, and we are going to do it by ourselves this time. But down the line, any of you can just pick up our product, just go here and just go ahead and give a prompt. It will automate your entire workflow. Right. So thank you so much.
Great, thanks. So Anil, this is mostly for your customers are mostly SMEs, or are they also large companies?
So we primarily did it for SMEs. Yeah, there's no reason that why not big companies can't use this. We made it for SMEs because SMEs couldn't afford a outsourcing of IT or developing such workflow with a huge cost. Now they can just develop their own workflow just with one single prompt.
Very impressive. What are some compliance requirements from this? For example, this is a medical use case, right? So these are very heavily regulated industries. So how do you prove?
So we are a multi-tenant actually. We have two options. So we ran on AWS or Microsoft Azure, or we also on-premise option. We are the only workflow management tool, agentic tool, who are deploying it on a on-premise. So for a clinical trial operations, let's say all this has to be in a secured servers of their own premise. So we have that architecture already built in, and for Excelsoft technologies, we are already doing that in in-house deployment.
Very impressive. So you're democratizing the tools for creating and automating workflows and things of that sort. So a lot more people can come into the age of automation process and so on. Excellent. Good work. Thanks, Ali. Anyone else got a question, or we got to move on to our next founder? Our next founder is going to be Ravitej Hegde from Peri Eye Solutions. So Ravi, over to you. Let's hear what you have to pitch.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madan. So I'm just projecting my screen. So, yeah, is my screen visible? Sorry, is my screen visible, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we are from Peri Eye Solutions Private Limited. We have our product called IoTreat, which is an autonomous water and wastewater treatment plant operational platform. So coming to the context, what is the need for the solutions that we are offering is that in India, it's a legal requirement for any entity generating sewage over 10,000 liters has to set up its own wastewater treatment unit, whether it is industries or residential areas or commercial. If they are generating over 10,000 liters of sewage in a day, they have to establish their sewage treatment plant. And at the current situation, only 39% of such treatment plants which are established are meeting the legal requirements. That means they are meeting the regulatory required quality. The major reason for this deviation in the quality of the outlet water is because of the operational gaps with respect to the standardized operations and skill level which is required for the operations. So this is the problem that we are actually trying to solve. And it is not only the quality which is at stake because of the manpower-based operation, it also has various other problems, including the higher power consumption, higher operational cost, less data availability, uncertainties in the labor regulations, health and safety issues, and many more. So in order to solve all these problems, so what we are trying to do is we have incorporated various principles based upon these treatment plants are operated, and we incorporated best operational practices, resource optimization concepts, IIoT, AI/ML, automation and digital twinning, as well as real-time monitoring to consolidate all these solutions to incorporate into a product called IoTreat, which is basically a autonomous water and wastewater treatment plant operational platform. When we say that we are completely automating it, autonomous operation is being enabled, what we basically do is if there is a sewage treatment plant which is being operated manually, we put up on certain instrumentations and we automate it using PLC and SCADA, and we automate it to such an extent that we can eliminate the manpower from the site. We put up IoT gateway to transfer the real-time data to the cloud server, which you can access through our IoT dashboard as a digital twin. And as you can see that there is also an AI/ML sitting upon the cloud, which gives a real-time instructions to the sewage treatment plant to troubleshoot as well as to operate the day-to-day operations in terms of treatment plant operations. As you see, this is a two-way communication that you are seeing here. So it's not only a monitoring tool, you can actually operate the treatment plant sitting at any place. And unlike the manual operation where you have to deploy 3-shift manpower at the site, in our cases, we can just operate this without any person being present at site. When we say that we have the AI and ML enabled operations, we have 5 P's of data-driven operation, which is enabled through our solution. One is the process automation through the complete automation of the system. Then the prediction, we predict the membrane health, equipment failures, possibilities and inflows, and also recognize the patterns in various aspects. Process improvement measures is something which is also incorporated as a optimization measures. And also we are working on the pixel analytics, where traditionally the quality of the water or wastewater is analyzed using sensors, which has to be operated with a skilled manpower, and it is costlier to replace these sensors. So we are establishing a correlation between the visible observations of the water as well as the quality of the water, so which in turn will reduce the cost of replacement of the sensors as well as reliability of the sensors when operating the sensors without any skilled manpower. And what we basically deliver to customer is that the operation cost will be reduced by 30 to 60%. Manpower reduction will be there from 10 to 40% at least. And energy consumption will be reduced by at least 25 or 20%. Quality of the water will be meeting legal requirements. ROI for the investment will come within the 1 to 3 years, and we provide 36 months of warranty for this solution that we offer, and we also positively impact 5 out of 17 SDGs, which is also a sustainability impact that we have on the with this solution. And as a journey, we have completed 20 turnkey projects, 7 projects in boot model. We also offer this in boot model where we bear the capital cost, capital investment for the investment of it. And we ask for the AMC for next 3 years, where we will be monthly recovering that amount along with the maintenance. So, and we have 7 ongoing projects, and we have also, as we also provide the AMC or the monthly operational supports, 62% of the customers to whom we have sold have come back to us with the AMC. So we have a sustainable recurring revenue as well with respect to this, and we have various paying customers, including the Ministry of Government of India as well. And if you see, this is the core team. So we are a team of environmental engineers. We have B and MTech in environmental engineering. We have, in our previous ventures, we were looking after the water and wastewater treatment at larger scales. We also had a previous venture called Paryavarni Engineers, where we manually operated this plant, from where we have acquired an organizational knowledge and personal knowledge on what are the problems that might occur because of the manual operation, which is addressed through the solutions that we are offering. And these are a few of the dashboards of digital twin and emergency dashboards and various other stuff. And we are also recipients of various awards incubated by NSR cell of IMB and also by the CII Green Entrepreneurship Council. So thank you so much. So this is about our product and our solutions. So basically what we are, what we look for, what we are looking for currently is we are completely bootstrapped till now. We are looking for the dilutions in the equity dilution and the investments in few months to go. And also we are looking for, our focus is currently on 2 markets. One is B2G, where we are acquiring government operated STPs, where we are including this as a product in the government operated STPs. And the second focus area of ours is collaborating with OEMs of these treatment plants. So in India, there are 5 market players in supplying these STPs, and we are in touch with them to collaborate with them so that our product becomes a part and parcel of their product that they offer to their customers, so that we can acquire a larger market by acquiring one collaboration. So that's the focus. So we are asking for the collaborations in these fronts, where we can be looking for collaborations in terms of investments as well as in terms of market access. Thank you so much.
Very good, Ravi. Excellent presentation. So you're all environmental engineers, is that right?
Right.
Yeah. And then how did the AI come into it? You have an AI head of AI on your team or something of that sort?
Yeah, we do have we also have acquired certain in-house knowledge as well in terms of founders. We also have advanced certification programs on AI and ML. Having said that, we already have an in-house team who works on AI and ML. So basically the programming and everything happens with an in-house team. And we are there as, even as a founder, we should be aware of the technology and everything, and which we have acquired based on the knowledge that we have acquired in our certification courses. And we also have the advisors who have worked on, who runs the organizations on the AI and ML. So that's how we work.
Thanks, Ravi. You picked a very important problem to have. I think sewage management in the very large cities of emerging economies, even other countries, is going to be a huge challenge going ahead. And you've hit the sweet spot. Anyone else got a question, comment? Otherwise, let's move on to our next speaker. Rudy, are you here with us? Rudy's next going to be a next speaker. Rudy's going to talk about some of his takeaways from the KM Summit in Dublin. So very recently in Dublin, there was the Knowledge Summit, one of the top KM conferences in the world, and Rudy was there, and he's going to share with us some of his key takeaways from what happened. I think Stuart is also there from Australia. Hi, Stuart. We've come to the right part where you can also share with us what you got away from the Knowledge Summit in Dublin. So Rudy, go ahead.
Madan, you'll be able to allow me to share the screen?
Yeah, of course. I think you have the right. Just go to share screen. Everyone has rights.
Okay. Just give me
at the bottom is share. Bottom of the screen.
Yes,
Center of the
yes,
bottom.
that's
There's a link
right.
for share.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you got to share the window or the application. I forget what.
Okay, let it be. I will just talk about it.
You can see it from your laptop and then read out. That's also fine.
Yeah, I think that'll be fine, you know. So one of the like you mentioned, this is one one Knowledge Summit. It's the first time I attended the Dublin Knowledge Summit. So what I did, I've divided this section into two parts. One is what the summit is about and why you should attend it. You know, it's amazing. The first thing is that when you go for any conference, normally the word family doesn't come into the picture. But this really felt like a family, and they created that atmosphere where you could actually mingle, interact, etc. And some of the organizers, now this is a user organized conference. So it is not a professional organization that is managing it, etc. So it is all the users who get together. So everyone collaborates, they help each other out and work. But it was basically Barry Bryan, and in fact, his brother was also on the managing committee. I am using the word managing committee. They were all working together, and Barry's parents were also there. They are in the 80s, but they also participate in all the sessions, met people, and so on. You know, so it was really a nice session in the evening when we had the drinks. You could bring your family members across, and it was a lot of collaboration. So actually, if you see, a lot of knowledge sharing happens informally. You know, when you build trust. So this was one of the things I found, that when you build trust, people were able to interact with each other. So that is something very unique to this conference. Now, while the conference was all about AI and KM, it was mainly the human interactions that stole the show. So there were more conversations taking place than actually presentations. Coming to the presentation, the speakers had to use a flipped format. And Stuart was excellent at that. So what you have to do is that you have to put forward problems and get people to participate in it. So Stuart can talk a little bit more about it at that time. And sometimes we found that the audience is more like an improv session. You know, so the audience got so engrossed that they were able to jump in, and the richness of the entire exercise came forward. Okay, then the next part was always what crowd comms. It was an app that was being used, and it kept everyone connected, not only before we reached, during the sessions, as well as it built momentum after the session also. So that was one thing that bound people. You could connect up people beforehand, seek appointments, share things. There was also social wall. So whatever was happening, people could quickly upload onto the social wall while the session is going on. They could share photos, they could ask questions, etc. And something very unique was there. They called something called knowledge pods. So 5 people at random were put together. And in the evening, you had to sit down and you had to discuss what you had learned that day, what surprised you, what was meaningful, etc. And so you actually connected deeply beyond your business cards. And some of us actually went out for a drink at the end of it. And another unique thing was the Fionn. The Fionn in the Irish literature, these are the wizards. So they had a Fionn session. There was a table and chair outside, and they would announce that, okay, now Dave Snowden is going to be there, or Bill Kaplan, etc. So you could go and you could sit and talk to them on any topic that you wanted. So it was a lot of wisdom that was generated. You could speak about any topic. It was very personal and very interactive. The key messages that came through with AI: what do you want? Do you want to learn to prompt, or do you prompt to learn? I think that was one major question that came up, that today with AI, everyone is thinking that, okay, if I prompt correctly, I'll get answers. But really, are we learning to prompt, or are really prompting to learn? Another thing that came out was that KM's value lies in how much we help each others to succeed. So that was a binding this thing that came out. Face-to-face matters. Trust cannot be automated. The other thing, we don't just focus on what we know. We should focus on what we can share. And one of the outstanding sessions for me was from the Inter-American Development Bank about AI and knowledge graphs. It was fascinating how to connect ideas and people to unlock smarter knowledge flows. So in short, that I felt could be a summary of what the Knowledge Summit was about. Stuart, would you like to add something to that?
Yes, Stu, you want to jump in?
Thanks, Rudolf. I loved it last year, and this year was even better, which surprised me. It was already the best conference I'd ever been to. I think because it's not a conference, it's a summit. It's like this room. It's a group of professionals coming together. There's no business people or anything else there. We all know what we're talking about. So when you do that flip session, you really are drawing out this amazing knowledge in the room from Stan Garfield, from Dave Snowden, and I had 220 people in my session. The beauty of it for me is it's the best merging of KM and AI that I've seen. And what my session was about was we all know now how important KM is to AI on the input side, on the semantic layer, and helping AI understand the context of our organizations. But I believe KM has a big part to play on the output side because AI needs to create more experts, not replace them. And so as we do this, we're at real risk of hurting our long-term capability as organizations. That idea resonated so much. I was put, nervously, I told Rudolf this, I was put up against NASA. So I thought, great, I'm going to have 3 people in my session. NASA got 80 people. I got 220. And that's not because I'm good. They chose that before they knew what I was going to talk about. It was because they care about that intersection between AI and human expertise. And we ended up with a wonderful session and lots of learning moments. So that really showed me how much using AI to build and manage long-term expertise is on everybody's minds at the moment. And I encourage everyone to come along next year and get involved, because it wasn't individual learnings. It was so many conversations with so many different people that I learnt from, and I know you all will too. Hopefully we'll see you there.
Fantastic. Thanks. Any questions from anyone? Manfred, anyone else got a question to ask?
No, I'm impressed, and thanks for your reporting. No questions. Thank you.
Yeah. My question for you guys is, how has the conference evolved over the years in terms of addressing some of the core issues of knowledge and humanity and so on?
Stuart,
So other than organizational AI and KM, are they also talking broader issues of ethics?
I didn't hear the last part of your question.
They're also addressing broader issues of AI ethics. These are all very hot topics now. Bias in AI, how can society create a more humane and just AI, etc. That's one of our speakers later will talk about that also. But is this also one of the topics of discussion?
Yes. So actually, when you're talking about AI, a lot, actually one thing came out very clearly, that if your knowledge management is not in place, AI does not actually get that leverage that it can, give you the intelligence that you want from it. So that came out very clearly. There were discussions around ethics. So that came up during the when they had the panel discussions and so on. There were examples also thrown about ethics. And there's a lot of concern that, if organizations today, even now in knowledge management, we've not done a good job of creating it as a discipline. So the fact is that so we are still at that nascent stage when we are still talking about, is it going to sit at a strategic level, is it at an operational level, and so on. So these discussions also came out at the same time. And but now they're trying to see how AI, because everyone feels that AI is an advantage. Also, it's a threat to KM. So that is where it is right now. But a lot of discussions around these issues of ethics also. Stuart?
Yeah, that's a.
But this was
Arpita, you got a question? Hey, go on. Stuart, go ahead.
This trajectory from last year. So last year, they very painfully made sure that it was a KM summit, not an AI summit. That said, it was very much 50-50. And so we saw very large pharmaceutical companies showing that they were developing 16 cubic meters of academic paperwork a day for for submission to the FDA using AI. And all of us were like, how are you doing that? And of course, Madan, they were doing it because they'd spent 18 years investing in knowledge management and information governance. So when AI came out, they were ready. And everyone in the room's going, I've got to get my back office in order. I mean, they saw the value. So this year, everyone was like, okay, we know the value of AI. How do we make that work with the people now? And so that's why, you know, what Rudolf saw was the evolution. And I'm really interested to see what happens next year, because Barry's really listening to the conversation. He's feeding and choosing topics to guide that conversation from year to year. And I love the fact that who was it? Was it eGain was one of the major sponsors. They gave him like 10 minutes to talk. It was all about us. And the sponsors knew that. So they were there to support and assist. They were there to spend as much time with you as they wanted, but they took hardly any stage time. And that just echoed the value of the conference and the values of the conference holders.
Wow, fantastic. Great. Thanks to you. Thanks, Rudolf. Thanks so much. And maybe we'll have another deep dive into some of the takeaways from the conference, specifically in terms of recommendations about AI for the next session. Let's go on now to our next speaker. Thanks again, Rudy. Thanks, Stuart. Let's move on to Ved now. Ved is going to give us an update on what's been happening with KMGN. I believe there was a board of directors meeting, plus there's this global KM week coming up, etc. So between the two, what's going on? Ved, over to you, Ved.
Yeah, thank you, Madan. So plenty happening on the KM Global Network front. I believe everyone on the call right now has heard of KM Global Network, but just to recap, it's a network of KM networks around the globe. So we have more than 30 countries which are represented in KM Global Network right now, including some national KM networks as well as some individual country members as well. Right. So very recently we completed the something what we call an annual course from KM Global Network. It's something very, very unique. It's a certification program where there is a theme that is decided for the year. And we have around 21 topics which are curated by KM Global Network KM experts as well. Right. So this year, the theme was around knowledge creation and innovation. The course was led by Moria and Vincent. Right. There were more than 100 people from 30 countries who registered, and of which around 60 completed the certification. So they got their badges as well fairly recently. So the course typically starts in February and ends in the month of June. Okay. We had speakers of the likes of Dave Snowden and Stan Garfield. The big names who participated in Knowledge Summit Dublin also were speakers over here. They curated these topics specially for the course. We have already started discussions for the annual course for 2026 now. And there is a poll that Moria had conducted for the same to see where the interest levels lie and where the trends are pointing towards. And while the topic and theme has not been decided, but it is something around KM in the new era, from strategy to execution. So we are still to, crystallize the theme. Okay. And the course will cover right from strategy to change, leadership, or culture in the times of AI. So we are never going to be very far away from AI when we talk of knowledge management. That's what is coming out increasingly from all sorts of discussions and all sorts of events that are happening. So that is on the KMGN course front. Right. We publish details on the courses, past as well as the present, on the KM Global Network group on LinkedIn. So if you're not already a member over there, please do request for joining that. Okay. Then let me touch upon something what we call the KM Landscape project, which is again under the umbrella of KM Global Network. This is being led by a gentleman called Andrew Hurd. And the objective of this particular landscape project is to create a comprehensive knowledge map of the KM discipline itself. This is again a hugely collaborative effort. There are more than 110 KM practitioners who have joined this project. Again, they come from 30 plus countries, and it has a dual structure where it is looking at the KM discipline as technical domains of KM, which is your people, process, technology, content, governance. It's also looking at the application side of KM. The application could be on the organizational side, on the individual side, right? On the so on and so forth. Societal part is there as well. So over here, currently work is going on creating a very rich glossary of terms. But then there are a lot of other threads that have been spawned off as well. And Andrew and the Landscape project welcomes all of us to really join that particular collaborative activity. Maybe in the chat window, let me put the, just give me a second. I've just put the link to the KM Landscape project where you can contribute in whatever hat you want to wear. As a contributor, as a reviewer, as a mentor, as a topic owner, etc., etc. So it is something that is to be developed by all of us and to be utilized by all of us. So that's a key project that is going on under KM Global Network. A third is what we call Business Aligned KM, a storytelling guide. And Manfred, who I can see on the screen, along with Pavel, they are leading this particular project. So this is about how do you really connect KM to business priorities and to stakeholders of business through the use of storytelling. So they're creating a storytelling canvas for the same, right? I think Manfred, I'll request you at some point, maybe next quarter, to hold a small webinar to talk about the outcomes of this particular project and any tips that are there for the entire KM Global Network community.
But we will do that in October in the KM week.
In the KM week. Great, thanks. Thank you, Manfred. So there you go. So we'll all look forward to hearing about what kind of storytelling canvas can we utilize when we are talking to our business stakeholders. Yet another KM Global Network project that is going on currently is what is called the KMGN Wiki. Now, this is about how do we really connect AI to KM for industry-specific knowledge, right? And Wiki is just a technical means of showcasing it. So here, what we are trying to do is that while we have generic KM tools and tips that are available, at the same time, when you get into an industry as a KM practitioner, you're interacting with very specific roles in that industry, very specific needs of KM that emerge from that. Right. So that is the body of knowledge that we are trying to create using AI and then validating that knowledge using subject matter experts that come from that industry. So this project is led by Randhir Pushpa, and the pilot is going on with the oil and gas industry at the moment. So you'll hear more about it. And what we'll also request everyone in this meet to volunteer for any specific industry if you feel that you can really lead that thread in the Wiki project once the oil and gas Wiki is showcased. Okay. So we are going to use MediaWiki and it will be a part of the KM Global Network website itself for the same. So probably in the next few weeks, you'll hear more about it. Okay. Now coming to the next big thing happening in KM Global Network, that's the KM Global Week. This is something that we started a couple of years back and we froze on the third week of October of the year as the KM Global Week around the world. So last year we had 165 events that happened in this particular week. This year it's going to be held from 20th to 24th of October. Right. We will have events that are local in nature, that are national in nature, that are regional in nature, and that they are global in nature. So the ask will be that one is please join the team that is curating these events in different countries and locations and even the global ones. So Moria has been leading the KM Global Week ever since its inception. And in fact, there is a kickoff meeting happening tomorrow. So tomorrow, 17th of July, it's a Thursday. And maybe later on, I'll share the link to that particular meeting. Right. And it will be happening once a month. So request those of you who can join to please go ahead and join that meeting. It's more about brainstorming about how do we curate different types of events. It's an ideation kind of a thing, but then it also fructifies into real events happening in the KM week. Okay. And Finally, one more update that I have is about the KM industry drivers and trends map. So this is something that KM Russia has led this year. Vadim and Olga, along with Manfred and Moria contributing to it as well. Right. So this is about what are some of the trends in KM in the short run, that is in the next 1 to 3 years, and in the medium term, that is 3 to 5 years. So there is a very comprehensive map that has been drawn up based on inputs received from many different sources. And expectedly, some of the key themes emerging. Gen AI is on top. How does it impact really the KM and KMers as well as KM as a profession? Right, we keep hearing about impact of AI. The second is about the importance of critical thinking that is emerging as something very close to what KM professionals are seeing. And then there is renewed emphasis on culture, leadership, and strategic positioning of KM. Right. So these are some of the trends that are emerging, but then there's a lot more that has come out of this particular initiative. So this in brief is some of the action that is happening within KM Global Network. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Vid. I'm sure we'd all love to take part in the next activities. Definitely during Global KM Week, we will do one of these Bangalore K community events as well. And maybe I can also rustle up a couple of people from my team to help out with the AI startup part of your whole KM landscape thing. How are startups getting into the knowledge economy, knowledge generation through new companies and things of that sort? So I'll put that as a checklist item for myself. Anyone else got any comments on KMGN's fantastic activities and their courses and so on? If not, we can move on to our next session. We've got a fantastic panel discussion coming up now. We have 4 speakers to talk about various aspects of emerging trends in technology. I'm going to start off with Saurav Jha, who's the president and CEO of Simnovus. We've all talked a lot about changes in the field of knowledge, changes in the field of AI, changes in the field of internet. There's another huge tsunami coming in the wave of mobile and network communications, and AI is also a big part of that. I'm going to invite Saurav now to share with us the story of Simnovus and how they are using AI to change the way communication is going to happen in the future. Saurav, over to you.
Yeah, hi, Madan. I hope all of you can hear me and see me. Okay. So first of all, thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. I've joined this session for last almost like half an hour, 45 minutes. It was very interesting. Good to know about different things that we discussed. I like the pitches from the startups. One common thing that I saw in that is that they're using AI technology to come up with different solutions for solving certain problems, right? And in all of these, one thing was common was that when we use these technologies on the edge devices or the IoT devices, which are remotely installed, the most important and the basic thing that you will need is a faster and a reliable mode of communication, right? And that is nothing but 5G, because 5G is fast, it is reliable, it has like almost like a lowest latency and stuff like that. I mean, one can debate why not wireline, but wireline is not possible because fiber cannot go to certain remote places when we talk about factories and campuses who are on a very far off places. So that's where 5G plays, and that's the power of 5G. 5G is a complicated technology. There are many important players involved in it. Some of the big names that we hear, like Nokia's, Ericsson's, the operators like Jio's, AT&T's. Simnovus is also a player. In 5G, we are a software company headquartered in US. I'm the founder and CEO of Simnovus. So the software engine that we develop, it is used by most of our customers to make sure that the various aspects of 5G communication are taken care of before these are deployed in the real field. And I'm not sure how much you all are well versed with the different aspects of 5G, but some of the critical requirements or the aspects of 5G are like, for example, the network planning and the optimization itself should start from the beginning. And there are other aspects like it has to be secured. We have to make sure that the bandwidth and the data rate are maintained at all the places. The quality of service has to be reliable. The latency has to be ultra low. Mobility has to be seamless, and all these different aspects, right? So Simnovus has been building the software which helps making sure that all these aspects are taken care before it is deployed in the real field. And the way even AI is blending to it is that, so so fine, we have heard about the stories like software, we have heard about automation and things like that. We have very complex written programs. But the way AI is helping it is that, there's a lot of predictability which has come into the picture. And what at Simnovus we are doing is that we are building our own AI model. And the way we are starting, I mean, just to give you a little glimpse of how do we plan to bring AI into the picture, is that basically we start with knowledge management, nothing else. I mean, I've heard the other panelists, speakers talking about it. So basically, whatever we have learned over the last 8 years, 10 years, in terms of technology, in terms of product, our engineering skill sets, code knowledges, programming knowledges, we are pulling in all of this knowledge into one AI platform, which is, of course, internal to us and hosted in our on-prem lab. And this knowledge is, I call it as a big, beautiful engineer in-house, which basically knows everything that all of us can know at one point of time. And then you can start using it in different ways. So there are different applications or use case or usages of this, big knowledge that you have kind of trained in. Like, for example, you can use it for internal engineering R&D cycles to streamline it and make it more efficient. You can use it, you can plug it in, so we are also planning to plug it in our products where, it is able to give us more predictive analysis or the troubleshooting of network outages, let's say, or fault detections or failure recovery mechanisms and things like that. And also, the tech support and those kind of things, because that makes things easier and simpler and faster. Madan, I can go on and on, but you have to stop me if I'm overreaching the time. So
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So when we bring in AI into all this and put it in the perspective, so what happens is that all of these activities that we have been doing it when I say traditional means in a software automation way, it brings more predictability first, and also the accuracy, because what has happened so far, although we have been talking about automation and all, at some point, or there are some gaps or the places where it is not fully automated. There is a manual intervention. For example, when I was hearing a pitch, we get the data from a remote sensor, we take it in the cloud, we can analyze it, but then who is there to take the action? For example, if you have detected a fault, maybe you have predicted a fault, but then what do we do about it? So that call to action thing can also be automated, so it was manual all this while. And we are trying to bring all of it into the plan by, so the result of it will be that there will be predictive, the fault predictions, there will be failure recovery mechanisms, all triggered in an automated manner. And even the learnings through all this process can further amplify the knowledge of the AI, which is already trained to a larger extent. So it keeps training itself at some point of time, and then it brings in all the data points, and that basically enables us to make the 5G network more efficient and things like that. Now, of course, I can get into the IoT, and because IoT is also enabled by 5G, so there are many real-time use cases. We can also talk about the private wireless, because nowadays you guys must have heard about this private wireless networks, because what is happening is that all these smart factories or large campuses or university campuses and stadiums or all these areas, they want a more secured and a dedicated network for themselves. They don't want to rely on a public carrier networks. Of course, so the public carrier network has to go along with the private wireless, and the private wireless also has to manage the IoT devices, like hundreds and thousands and millions of IoT devices, for different functions and sensoring activities. So all this have to be orchestrated in a proper manner. AI is going to be very helpful. We are building AI, so we know what are the advantages that we see in real sense. Yeah, so this is what I have to say. I can continue. I mean, it's a
Yeah, thanks, Saurav. We might come back to you some questions afterwards. I like how you're combining AI with capabilities, sorry, KM with capabilities of AI to build out the next generation of mobile networks and so on. We've already come so far with the smartphone generation. I'm very eager to see what future things will happen with even more broadband speed for many of the applications we heard about, edge IoT and so on. So thanks, Saurav. We'll come back to you. We have these very often, so I'm sure
Sure.
I'll bring you back to do another case study or so. We're going to switch gears now to a completely different topic, but also with relation to AI. I'm going to ask Arpita Kanjilal to join us. Arpita has just landed in New Delhi right now, about half an hour ago from Geneva. She was at the World Summit on the Information Society talking about issues of how to make AI more accessible to broader people, broader sections in society, and how to make AI just, ethical, and responsible. So, Arpita, over to you. Thanks so much for joining us straight from the plane, or are you in the immigration line, or where are you now?
I am in the immigration line. Thank you so much, Madan sir. And I'm
Wow.
sorry that I'm not switching on the video. And hello, everyone. Good evening. I come in here not as a coder or a developer, but as a social scientist with keen interest in the intersection between AI and, for that matter, any technology and its relationship with society, right? And then this is a real pleasure to be part of this discussion. I mean, all the conversations that you are having as experts are centered extremely around innovation, and I definitely, this is a good space for deeper conversations about technology, and then if the conversations that can also go beyond just innovation and efficiency to understanding how to center citizens and community perspectives in shaping the AI dialogue. And then for me, from Digital Empowerment Foundation, we work with grassroots communities spanning more than 2,000 communication information resource centers across the country, which functions to basically bridge information and digital divide. We see firsthand how fast AI and data systems are changing the world around us, but often without including the people who should matter most. What we mean by is, like, when you are talking about B2B model, B2G model, B2G2B model, everything ends at C, and then that consumers, yes, but C is also citizens, C is also communities. So that's why at the Digital Empowerment Foundation, we started this initiative called the Just AI Data and Algorithms for Communities, because we felt too many discussions on ethical and responsible AI are currently taking place without citizens and communities at the center. So, for example, like if I have to break it down, in most policy and corporate conversations, the big focus and meaningfully is how can we make AI truly ethical that serves people, and how can we innovate responsibly. But we also feel that we are not asking enough. How will ordinary people adopt and interact with AI? Are we thinking about the social, behavioral, and economic impacts AI is having on society? Are we worried enough about the environmental footprint of rising data centers, and also how they are affecting land, energy, livelihoods, especially in tier 3, tier 4 cities or the rural areas? And are we paying also attention to how the nature of work itself is being platformized through gig apps, delivery platforms, or content farms, leaving like millions of workers with little or no protection? Now in India, for example, we have Rajasthan, and now lately Karnataka legislate social welfare protection for gig and platform workers, which is great in like steps, but we have so much more to do. And then here, very importantly, like, are we even clear on what a platform really is? When we say people or platforms, are we just talking about social media? Because platforms today come in many forms. There are social media platforms, of course, influencing our opinions and behaviors. Then there are gig work apps controlling livelihoods for millions of workers. Then there's e-commerce algorithms which are shaping local markets, and digital lending platforms determining who gets credit, etc. Even health surveillance systems decide who gets access to care, right? So these platforms are becoming silent decision makers, often without any accountability to the people they are supposed to impact. So, like, what I'm trying to say is that the perceived technicalities around AI, it creates a distance between people and the process, to an extent that it feels like a black box every time, not knowing where exactly we are going wrong. Like a lot of conversations are about development of AI, which is absolutely necessary, but not as much as about deployment and adoption of AI. So, if I have to take, if I have time, I'll just take 3-4 examples. For example, what does it look like on the ground? Farmers are denied benefits because the system wrongly flags them as illegible. Women artisans are denied credit because informal work is not recognized by algorithmic scoring. Or youth from small towns are filtered out by automated hiring tools. Or, there are families, there are people who are left confused because of data profiling. whether, I mean, either they are tracked too much or they are excluded. Then there's also, of course, technology brings in the idea of surveillance through all kinds of facial recognition, blah, 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 blah. So like, how do we then like understand technology, its application, and in our society is something that we want to focus on. So at DEF, what we do is we build these conversations in various forms. One of it is basically we do an annual summit called the Digital Citizen Summit, where people who like are working across at the intersection of digital technologies, across sectors, disciplines, corporates, government, non-profit sectors, everyone comes together in Hyderabad. This is a partnership with the Department of IT and C. So, so this year, for example, we are going to, host the DCS with the theme "People or Platforms." Let's talk accountability. So that's the topic. So where we are going to discuss or ask who gets to design these platforms, who decides the rules, who gets excluded from work, services, from rights because of AI and platformization that we do not fully understand or control, right? So I think I'll stop here and say that at the heart of it, technology should serve people and society and not the other way around. And that's where we are trying to work. And yeah, just one last thing that we also, as part of the Jeffrey initiative, we have an awards platform, which basically tries to gather and recognize AI solutions with measurable social impact. And when I'm saying social impact, it's not just ticking the boxes, which make it ethical AI in the life cycle of AI solution development, but also who is it made for? Is it commercial? Is it semi-commercial? Can people access it? So we have a very good pool of experts, jury experts who actually do this rigorous process and then recognize, AI solutions for social good. So I'll stop here, Madan sir.
Thanks so much, Arpita. That was a brilliant presentation. We'll have you back. We've got more sessions later on AI for good, knowledge for good, knowledge for development, tech for good, and so on. There were a couple of questions about your event. I've just put up the link. I hope you guys can see the slide with the link to this event on November 14th and 15th. And the organization she represents is called DEF. You can see defindia.org in that link. That's the Digital Empowerment Foundation. They work a lot on issues of information access at the margins of society. How are people who are disenfranchised getting further impacted by AI, either for the better or for the worse? For example, Arpita, by an amazing coincidence, I just got into Bombay today, and there's a strike by the employees of Ola and Uber because they're protesting against lack of visibility in the age of the algorithm. They're not getting rights, they're not getting recognized, they're not getting the right compensation. So there's a huge protest. Luckily, Bombay has enough other kinds of alternate transport. The normal taxi system works beautifully. So that's how I managed to come here to this hotel where I'm in right now. But you're right, there are a lot of issues of disenfranchisement as big, large companies with a B2C interface are not acting in a very ethical way. So that these are very important issues that we've addressed, and we will definitely come back to you when we have further discussions on this AI for good track. So thanks. And Stuart also had a question for you in the chat window. I'll just read it out for you. He's saying, do you see any parallels between what's happening now with what happened maybe 20, 30 years back in the age of the computer, early days of the internet, early days of the smartphone, when there were also issues of digital divide of different kinds? So I think digital divide keeps changing as we evolve. Each technology creates a new kind of divide. So is that what you would add?
Yes. Just adding to Madan sir, I think when you're also talking about transition, digital transition, like from per se from 2G to 4G, 5G, and now 6G, we also have to keep in mind that at least 300 million people in India still don't have the mobile phones that can enable 5G connectivity. Even my phone, I have a very good Samsung S20, one of the top models, but it still does not have 5G connectivity. So I'm still on 4G. So when we are talking about any transition, even in terms of infrastructure, we have to have clarity on what the reality is. And then digital divide is declining, is on the rise, while there is so much digitization as well. So like Madan sir said, it takes newer forms every time. And with AI, again, it has taken newer forms of crisis that we have to deal with together.
Yeah. In fact, Arpita, I'm reading this very interesting book right now called FinTech for Billions. So this talks about the promise
Yes.
of using FinTech and AI to open up new kinds of financial products for people who are disenfranchised. But here also there are issues. There are people who are being left out of the system because they don't match the existing biometric scanner kind of systems, or the voice interface is not in the right language, right accent, or the bias of gender, etc., is not connecting to them properly, etc. So thank you. We should come back to all these very important issues later. We've got just about a little more than 20 minutes left and two more speakers to bring up. I'm looking for Sanjay Nayak. Sanjay, are you here? He's supposed to be one of our speakers from the Tata management training. I know he dropped out a while ago because he had another meeting to jump into very quickly. If he comes back, I'm going to bring Sanjay because he's a very important person in the discussion. He's talking about KM in the Tata Management Training Center, one of India's largest corporate houses. But let's turn now to Biju Nair. Biju Nair is the founding partner of Legalitech. This is a company looking at various legal issues of AI and Gen AI. And he's going to share with us, based, I guess, on the current discussion we've had, his own work in the area of open source AI, etc. What kinds of trends are we seeing in the area of legal protection, data privacy, data ownership, and so on? Biju, are you here with us? Floor is
Thank you,
yours.
Madan. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, so when we look at any entity, today the IP,
Hey,
intellectual
we can't
property.
see you. Can you put on your video or you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
us to? Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Madan. So when we look at AI, we have to look at also it from the perspective of from a legal perspective. When we look at it, intellectual property is the biggest asset any entity has. So whether you are a user of AI in any form, uh, the regulatory nuances, because uh, the laws like the copyright laws, the patent laws have not been adopted for the AI ecosystem. So when you see there is a lot of users data and information and content which is being used by many of these AI platforms. So you will see a lot of litigation happening across the globe where artists and creators of various work are fighting against these platforms, AI platforms, to enforce their rights. So most of the cases you would have seen against OpenAI and GitHub Copilot and stuff. And when you look at from the other perspective, which is the user's perspective, when you're building on top of AI models, let's say you have to look at into the terms of use of these models. So if you look at OpenAI's model, the terms of use, it restricts the liability of the entity, that is OpenAI, to just $100, or it is the liability of theirs is limited to the maximum fees you pay to them in the last 12 months. So if you are building on top of these existing models, you have to incur liabilities. So generally founders skip those terms of use, and sometimes they are using multiple models to build upon. So you may not be able to comply with the liability mechanism, because your product which you're building on top of the existing models will be used by third-party service providers, and they then will be using it for other people. So where does the liability rest? The existing models limit their liability, and this I'm talking about the enterprise model. I'm not talking about the free model. So even in the enterprise model, the limitation of liability. So all these are things which you should be looking at when you are using any existing model, because it may not suit your business or it may not limit your liability. And you might be in a situation where your liability is unlimited. So my one recommendation for everybody using AI existing models are read the terms and conditions carefully. And if you can't do it yourself, take external help, because people like us, we look into this and help you, guide you, handhold you, how you can navigate these issues. And second thing is, if you see any of these terms and conditions, you will see that they have limited their liability. So they are not responsible for any litigation which happens against them. So the invert data, there will be a lot of IP violations. There could be a lot of IP violations. And if you are using the same model, you are also in the downstream when it is being used, like with vibe coding and all these things. there is a lot of IP violations and infringement which could be there. There could be a lot of license violations. When I say license violations, most of these are open source models. And there are codes and libraries which has certain license obligations. So let's say it is a GPL3 license in one of those codes. So if it is GPL3, there is an obligation to grant back the patent. So if you have used it in your product or services, you have an obligation to grant back the patent. So you cannot, or your users cannot have a patent on that subject matter. So all these are implications which you should be careful about. If you are not careful about, you will be in litigation. And as I told you earlier, the liability of these entities are limited to $100, or in case you have paid them fees for the last 12 months, it is the maximum fees you have paid them. But in your case, your clients or your users might have put on a higher, like your enterprise users might cap you on a higher liability. So liability also would be direct, indirect, consequential liabilities also. So you have to make sure that you don't take liability which is more than what you can chew. So, so you have to be careful about the IP aspect, because that's, as I said, that's your most important asset. Secondly, when you are using any existing models, please look into those terms and conditions and see what they are talking about, their liability, what happens if there is an IP violation found. In most of the cases, I have seen is that they won't take the liability. So the liability comes on you. So how do you make sure that your liability is taken care of? Then I'll see a lot of litigations by patent trolls. So what are patent trolls? Patent trolls are entities who buy patents and start suing entities. They don't have products and services they offer. Their only role is to buy patents and start suing entities. So a lot of smaller entities and medium entities and larger entities have been sued by patent trolls. So in the realm of AI, how do you mitigate your patent risk? So there has been a case in US where one of the startups got funding and they were increasing their team size. They were doing a fabulous job. One patent troll sued them. They had to decrease the team size. They had to spend all the money they got from the funders to do litigation against the patent troll. And end of the day, it was found that the patent which they were allegedly being infringing upon was invalid. There was no actual infringement. But in this course of time, what they lost is the money which was spent on litigation, and they had to decrease the team size from 40 to 2. So all these risks are there. So when you're using AI, be careful from a legal perspective, looking it from an IP perspective, please also look it from a liability perspective. What is the maximum liability you can? So you also should be limiting your liability. Most of the enterprises don't limit their liability, and startups, when they do an agreement with an enterprise, if they are building on top of an existing model, please limit your liability and also look at insurance. So that, and there are a lot of regulations happening every day. We are looking at it, things. Country specific laws are there, like you have seen EU AI Act, European Union's AI Act. So there are a lot of legislation changes. There are directions, there are guidelines, there are specific health sector guidelines, there is financial sector guidelines. So in each of the jurisdictions you operate, please be mindful of the regulations. The case laws also are evolving. From a knowledge management perspective, you should also be careful that is your knowledge being used or infringed by some third party, because you have this worked on this for ages, and one fine morning you see that all your data sets, all your knowledge has been used without your permission, without your license. So that also is very important for you to look into, because where is this data, and can entities scrap this data from your websites or wherever this is. So many of the cases where we have seen is all their data on their website has been scraped and using AI. And so there are ways to make sure that this data scrapping doesn't happen. And even if the data scrapping is happening, they ask for a license from you, and that's where you can monetize your knowledge. So various news agencies across the globe have taken various entities to court. Like even in India, we saw ANI suing another entity for usage of their IP or their knowledge without their permission. So copyright is a law which is now evolving across the globe with the advent of AI, and like Indian Copyright Office has not provided a guideline. What would be a copyrightable subject matter? So as of now, any AI doesn't get a copyright because there has to be a human element. So on the same subject matter on a painting in US that was rejected. In India, it was granted by the copyright on the first instance. After a hue and cry, that was rejected. So if we have a guideline by the copyright board, then things would have been easier. So inconsistency in the laws across the globe creates a problem for an entrepreneur. If there is clarity which is brought in the copyright laws and the IP laws regarding AI, then things would have been easy. And I don't see a lot of regulators in India giving guidelines, like whether it is SEBI coming out with guidelines with the extent of AI usage. Like we have a lot of algo trading and stuff. So all these areas should be taken up by the regulators so that the entrepreneurs get an idea and clarity where they can head their business towards. Because this is a regulatory maze. What may be permissible today may not be permissible tomorrow. So with this inconsistency, entrepreneurs cannot flourish. So there is a problem there. And each jurisdiction has different context, different regulatory mechanisms.
Thanks.
So it's a lot of, so you have to navigate through this regulatory maze and with caution and with diligence. Don't ignore the terms and conditions. Go into that. Look at the liability. What is the limitation of liability with these platforms are using? So and also make sure that you have a defensive strategy. In case you are sued by anybody, how will you navigate the whole situation? What are your counter arguments in each of those realities?
No, thanks. Thanks, Biju. I think there are 3 master classes right in there. AI law for corporates, AI law for entrepreneurs, and the overall national regulatory differences for AI law and regimes. Thanks. Thanks so much, Biju. We're almost out of time now. We got about 8 minutes left. Unfortunately, our other speaker hasn't been able to join us, but maybe this is a good time to get input from everyone else and hear from some of our other participants. For example, I can see Kamugalo Molekswa, where are you joining us from? Are you in, I'm guessing, South Africa or something? Kanigalo, we also have Kana here. Kana, you can say hello and tell us where you are. Amber, Sundaraj. Yeah, hi,
Hi,
Kamugalo.
everyone.
Yes.
I'm Kamugalo Molekwa. Hello. I'm from South Africa. I work in the organization called City of Tshwane Metropolitan Municipality. I'm a senior knowledge management specialist. Hi, everyone.
Fantastic. Yeah. Any takeaways? What did you like so far from the discussion today? What would you like to add? Maybe next time we can have you as a speaker talking about your case study for KM or AI. Yeah.
I liked the conversation around AI and intellectual property because I see a lot of people utilizing AI in the organization without even acknowledging the source, without acknowledging the authors. So maybe in the next meeting that we have, can we expand on it? Because I'm not too sure in South Africa if they are regulators, if they are there, how do we get hold of them, and how do we ensure that people that are using AI are not infringing on other people's work? So that's the part that I like, and I would like to explore more with you colleagues. I hope that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll have many more such discussions in future. Kanna, Sanket, Sundaraj, you want to say hello? Amber, yeah, Amber, there you are. Tell us where you are, what do you do, and
Yes, hello everyone. So I am Amba Banerjee. I am from Wipro and I'm part of the KM team, and I have been a knowledge manager for the last 11 years now. So prior to this, I was working at Deloitte. So it was a very engaging conversation wherein I got to learn a lot of new things. And as everybody was speaking, that KM and AI, this is a very hot topic, and there is always the thread that always that discussion around that if AI will eat into the KM aspect as well. But then there's the other part of the story that AI is there and AI does what it does only because if there you have a very solid foundation around the KM. So thank you so much. There was a lot of learning from here, and we'll be looking forward to many more.
Amber, we look forward to a session from you on KM and Wipro and what's been happening since people like Ved left KM from Wipro years or maybe decades ago. Sanket, yeah, thanks. Sanket, Kanna, you want to say hello before we log off? Sundaraj, Martin, Thorsten, just a quick hello. Tell us
There's
who you
Ishan
are.
also.
Yeah. Who else is left? Okay, Martin says thanks. He's got another meeting. Okay, that's fine. I think it's getting to be 5 o'clock, the end of the evening over here. Manasvi, you want to wrap up with a few closing remarks? You got 2 minutes.
Sure. I'll get it from here. Thanks, Madan. Thanks for the great session. And I have shared a link with you all. I'll also share my screen. Yeah. So you can also share the feedback for the session here. Let me just give you a quick recap. So as we bring this session to a close, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to each of you for being part of this edition of MXR. Thank you for showing up with your ideas, curiosity, and your presence. It's your energy that turns up a gathering into something meaningful, a space shaped by collaboration, insight, and momentum. A special thank you to our speakers, panelists, moderators, and facilitators. Your openness and depth sparked the conversation that matters. And you're the reason MXR stays thoughtful and relevant. To our partners, collaborators, and community champions as well, thank you for building bridges with us, helping us create real opportunities for growth, innovation, and global reach. And of course, deep gratitude to the amazing team behind MXR, Dr. Madan Mohan Rao, Vinay Dora, and Sai. Your efforts, coordination, and care bring all of this to life. As we wrap up, we'd love to keep the momentum going. MXR doesn't end here. There's more ahead through future mixers, curated sessions, and cross-border connections. If you'd like the access to the curated list of enterprise AI startups that Vinay had mentioned earlier, I'll also show you here in the list. So you can find the startups here as well. And so if you like the access to these startups, we'll be happy to facilitate a follow-up call. So let us know if you're interested. You can also drop your email ID and we'll take the conversation up from there. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone. It's now almost 5 o'clock. So have a good evening, and we'll keep you posted about our next events. This whole thing was recorded live, by the way. We stream it on YouTube, so you can see the whole thing and share the link with other people as well. So once again, Manfred, Biju, let me see all the names over here. Rudy, Kamagalo, Ved, Manasvi, Saurav, Ajit, thanks you all so much for joining us here today. And I will look forward to seeing you again on the 3rd Wednesday of either next month or the month after that. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a good
Thank you, Madan.
Cheers.
Thank you, Madan.
Thank you, Madan.